So, you're learning English, but let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered why it's so hard some days? Why you feel like you're not making progress? Even after months of study, well, you're not alone. And trust me, this journey is going to be worth it. Today, we're diving deep into the real reasons why staying motivated is so challenging and how you can push through those moments when everything feels like it's just not clicking. If you're ready to face this struggle head on, keep listening, because this is the turning point you've been waiting for. The emotional roller coaster of language learning, learning English, isn't just a step-by-step, linear process. It's not like reading a book from start to finish. Instead, it's like climbing a mountain, with both exciting peaks and tough valleys along the way. And just like a mountain climb, some days, you feel like you're on top of the world. You can easily understand movies without subtitles, have conversations without mentally translating every word, and feel confident in your English skills. But on other days, you feel stuck. It's as if the words just aren't coming, and you're barely moving forward. You wonder if you'll ever improve. Here's the thing about those bad days. They're just part of the process. Everyone experiences them, even the most experienced language learners. But the truth is, when you look back at those difficult days, you'll realize how much progress you've actually made, even when it felt like nothing was working. Those days of struggle, they are part of the learning curve. It's a long journey, and it's normal to experience a few setbacks along the way. Now, let's talk about those small moments of victory. Every time you learn a new word or understand a sentence you couldn't a week ago, that's progress, even though it may feel tiny. These little victories add up over time, and when you look back, you'll see how far you've come. Progress is often like a shadow. You might not notice it right away, but it's there. So, whenever you're feeling like you're stuck or not getting anywhere, take a moment to appreciate the quiet wins. They're the things that will keep you motivated for the long haul. Motivation isn't always loud. It's the quiet voice. Let's get real for a moment. There are days when you want to quit. You feel like it's just too much to handle, or that you'll never be good enough. Those feelings are completely normal. Motivation isn't always the loud, excited cheerleader shouting in your ear, pushing you to go harder. No, the true magic of motivation is much quieter than that. It's the soft, steady voice that says, "Just try a little bit more. Just one more minute." It's the little voice that keeps encouraging you, even when you're exhausted and frustrated. The truth is, motivation isn't a constant, overwhelming force. It's subtle, almost like a whisper, and sometimes it's so quiet that it's easy to miss. But that's okay. In those moments when you feel overwhelmed, don't expect fireworks or dramatic inspiration. Instead, remember this: showing up, even on the days when you don't feel like it, is the key to success. The simple act of trying again, even if it's just for a few minutes, is where the real magic happens. That's how you keep going, step by step, through the highs and lows. When those tough days hit, it's so important to reconnect with your why. Ask yourself, why did you start learning English in the first place? Is it for your career? Maybe you want to travel and explore new places? Or perhaps you just love the idea of connecting with people from around the world. Whatever your reason is, that's what will fuel you through those hard times. Your reason for learning English is your engine, the force that keeps you moving forward. So, when everything feels overwhelming, remind yourself of why you started this journey in the first place. That's your source of strength, your motivation for even the toughest days. And remember, it's okay to have days where motivation feels low. You don't need to have a huge surge of energy or inspiration to keep moving forward. Sometimes, just showing up and doing a little bit, even if it's just listening to a podcast or practicing for a few minutes, is enough. It's those little actions that make all the difference in the long run. When things feel difficult or you start doubting yourself, look back at where you started. How much progress have you made? Maybe last week, you were struggling with a particular word or phrase, and now it feels like second nature. Or perhaps a month ago, you couldn't understand a conversation in English, but now you can pick up on more words and phrases. These small wins matter. They show that you are moving forward, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. The key is to recognize and celebrate these victories. Don't wait until you can speak perfectly or understand everything to acknowledge your progress. The fact that you're showing up and trying every day is enough. And when you focus on these small wins, rather than comparing yourself to others or measuring your progress in big leaps, you'll find that motivation comes easier. You'll start to appreciate the journey, not just the destination. This is why it's so important to stay connected to your why, your reason for learning. When you remind yourself of that, the process becomes less about achieving perfection and more about enjoying the growth you're experiencing. It's not about reaching some elusive, perfect level of fluency. It's about showing up, learning a little bit every day, and feeling proud of your progress. In the next section, we will continue to explore strategies for maintaining motivation and pushing through tough moments. But for now, take a moment to reflect on your journey. The road may be long, but you're not alone, and every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goal. Keep going, because your future self will thank you for it. By focusing on these foundational aspects of motivation, we can begin to understand why the journey of learning English, or any language, can feel like an emotional roller coaster. Whether you're on top of the world one day, understanding everything, or struggling to keep going the next, it's all part of the process. And in the end, the quiet motivation that drives you to keep showing up, even when it's hard, is what will get you across the finish line. Keep going. You've got this. Overcoming setbacks and embracing the process. When you're learning English, there will be days when everything feels like a challenge. You might feel frustrated, tired, or like you're not making any real progress. And that's okay. The most important thing to remember is that you don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to speak like a native speaker tomorrow. Learning a new language takes time, effort, and patience. So, on the days when it feels too difficult, don't aim for perfection. Instead, focus on the act of trying. Even the smallest effort is a step forward. It's common to feel overwhelmed when you're trying to juggle life and language learning. Maybe work or school is demanding your attention, or you're simply exhausted from the day-to-day grind. On days like these, the thought of sitting down to study for an hour might seem impossible. But here's the truth: you don't need large chunks of time to make progress. Small, consistent efforts are just as important. If you're feeling too tired to study, try doing something small that still moves you forward. Listen to an English podcast for just 5 minutes, or read a short paragraph aloud. You don't have to finish an entire chapter or learn a dozen new words. Instead, focus on doing something manageable that fits into your day. Even repeating a sentence you've already learned is a small victory. You might also consider using the shadowing technique, where you repeat sentences or phrases that you hear. This helps reinforce your learning and is a great way to stay engaged, even when you're tired. Just remember, the goal is not to overexert yourself, but to maintain consistency. It's like taking a walk when you're too tired to run. It's still progress, even if it's slower. And when those days come when you feel completely drained, here's a tip. Remind yourself that learning doesn't always need to happen in large chunks. You don't have to dedicate hours of your time to studying every day. Sometimes, just showing up for a few minutes is all you need. Think of it as a victory if you practiced for just 10 minutes or spoke in English for 1 minute. These moments are important too, and they add up over time. The power of consistency cannot be underestimated. It's easy to focus on the big picture and feel disheartened if you don't see immediate results. But when you take things one step at a time and celebrate those small wins, you build momentum. Don't overlook the little things. They matter more than you might think. As you continue on your learning journey, it's essential to be kind to yourself. Don't criticize yourself for not studying enough or for not progressing quickly. You're doing the best you can, and that's enough. Embrace the process. Enjoy the small steps, and don't rush it. Remember, learning English is not a sprint, it's a marathon. The more you accept and embrace the journey, the more rewarding it becomes. Progress isn't always obvious, but it's there. One of the toughest challenges in language learning is the feeling of stagnation. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, it can seem like you're not making any progress at all. This is especially true when you're learning a language like English, which can be so vast and complex. On those days, it's easy to feel discouraged, to question whether you're improving at all. But trust me, progress is happening, even if it isn't always obvious at first. One simple yet powerful way to track your progress is by keeping a language journal. This doesn't have to be a complicated or lengthy exercise. Just jot down a few things every day. Maybe you learned a new word, understood a sentence you didn't get before, or remembered a grammar rule you struggled with previously. Tracking even small moments like these will help you see that progress is real, even when it feels like it's happening slowly. When you're learning a language, it's often the little things that matter the most. It could be understanding a conversation that previously left you confused, or recalling a word during a conversation that you couldn't remember before. These moments can feel small, but they're significant milestones in your learning journey. And over time, when you look back at your journal, you'll be amazed at how much you've learned. Recording your voice is another excellent tool to measure your progress. It might feel strange at first, but it's one of the most effective ways to see and hear your improvement. You don't need fancy recording equipment. Your phone will do just fine. Start by recording short sentences in English. They could be simple introductions or phrases you've learned. Do this regularly, and then listen to them again after a week or two. You'll be surprised by how much your pronunciation, fluency, and confidence improve. Even though progress may feel slow in the moment, hearing the difference in your recordings will show you just how much you've grown. Sometimes, the progress is subtle, and it's hard to notice it in your day-to-day learning. But when you compare where you are now to where you were a few months ago, you'll see that you've come a long way. It's a bit like planting a seed. At first, it's hard to see any changes, but with time, you notice it growing. Learning English is the same way. It's not always obvious in the short term, but over time, the results are undeniable. Another way to track progress is to pay attention to the moments when things start to feel easier. Maybe you've watched a movie or TV show in English, and instead of relying on subtitles, you understand most of the dialogue. Or maybe you've had a conversation with a native speaker, and you didn't have to pause to translate every word in your head. These moments may feel small, but they are huge indicators of progress. They show that you're moving from learning the language to actually using it in real life. And that's what language learning is all about, not just understanding words and grammar rules, but using them to communicate, to connect, and to experience the world in a new way. The ability to express yourself, even if imperfectly, is what shows that you're truly learning. But, of course, it's easy to get caught up in the frustration of not being where you want to be yet. Sometimes, it's helpful to take a step back and reflect on how far you've come. You might not be fluent today, but you are closer than you were yesterday. So don't be hard on yourself. Every time you try, every time you practice, you're making progress. Remember, progress isn't always loud and dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet and subtle, but that doesn't mean it's any less real. Whether it's understanding a new word, speaking with more confidence, or simply practicing every day, all of these moments are progress, and they matter. Keep moving forward, even when it feels slow, because, in the end, it all adds up to something significant. And the best part, the more you celebrate these small wins, the more motivated you'll feel to continue. So, don't forget to look back at your journal, listen to your voice recordings, and reflect on how far you've come. You are making progress, even if you don't always see it. Keep going. Every step you take is a step toward fluency. The power of reflection and looking back. Learning English is a journey that often feels like a never-ending process. Some days you feel like you're on top of the world, speaking English fluently and understanding everything that's thrown your way. Other days, you might feel discouraged, wondering if any of your efforts are really paying off. When progress feels slow, it's easy to focus only on what you haven't achieved yet. But here's a powerful exercise. Take a moment to stop looking forward and instead look back. Reflect on how much you've learned and how far you've come. Think about where you were a month ago. What could you do back then that you can do more easily now? Can you understand more? Are you more confident when speaking? Maybe you can now follow along with a conversation you once found confusing. Or perhaps you can introduce yourself in English without stumbling. These are all signs of progress, even if they feel small in the moment. Reflecting on where you started and where you are now can reignite that spark of motivation, especially on the days when you feel like giving up. It's easy to forget just how much ground you've covered, but taking the time to reflect on your journey helps you see the big picture. Progress isn't always about making huge leaps forward. Sometimes, It's about those small, steady steps that accumulate over time. When you look back and realize how much you've improved, it becomes easier to keep pushing forward. The key to staying motivated is to shift your focus from the end goal to the journey itself. Instead of measuring success by how quickly you can speak or how perfectly you can understand every word, focus on your growth. Even the smallest progress is worth celebrating. So, whenever you feel frustrated or like you're not improving, take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. That simple act of looking back can help you reframe your learning process and remind you that progress is happening, even when it's not immediately visible. Enjoying the journey, not just the destination, no. Let's talk about something that's crucial to your long-term success, enjoying the process of learning English. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that you need to be fluent, and that fluency is the only measure of success. But learning a language isn't just about getting to the finish line. It's about embracing the beauty of the journey and finding joy in the small victories along the way. You might think that once you're fluent, you'll finally be able to enjoy English, but that's a misconception. The real magic happens in those little moments of understanding. Imagine watching a movie in English and suddenly understanding a sentence without subtitles. Or maybe you have your first conversation in English, even if it only lasts for a few minutes. These moments might seem small, but trust me, they are huge victories in your language learning journey. The key is to celebrate these little moments, even if they don't seem perfect. You don't need to speak like a native speaker right away, and you don't need to understand every word you hear. What's more important is that you're learning and growing each day. Allow yourself to enjoy the process. Embrace those moments of progress, no matter how small they seem. When you focus on enjoying the learning process rather than obsessing over the destination, you'll find yourself more motivated and more eager to keep going. Learning English doesn't have to feel like a chore or a race to the finish line. It can be fun, rewarding, and enjoyable. So, next time you practice, don't just think about the goal of fluency. Instead, focus on the joy of the process. Keep trying, keep experimenting, and allow yourself to embrace the beauty of learning. The real power of English, connecting with the world. Let's take a moment to talk about the real power of learning English. It's not just about memorizing grammar rules or acing your next test. English is a tool that opens doors to new opportunities, experiences, and connections. When you learn English, you're not just learning a language, you're gaining access to the world. There are more than 1 billion people who speak English today, and that number continues to grow. That means that when you speak English, you're never truly alone. No matter where you live, whether it's in Brazil, Vietnam, or the United States, speaking English connects you to a global community. You can travel more easily, make friends from different cultures, and access information that might otherwise be out of reach. Think about that for a second. By learning English, you're connecting with people from around the world, breaking down barriers, and expanding your world in ways you never imagined. But the power of English goes beyond communication. If your goal is to get ahead in life, English plays a crucial role. Whether you're applying for a job, studying abroad, or just traveling, English unlocks so many possibilities. It's not just about speaking to someone. It's about opening doors to new experiences and opportunities. If you dream of working internationally or studying at a foreign university. Knowing English will make those dreams a reality. English is the global language of business, education, and culture. And it's not just for travel or work. English allows you to access a world of knowledge, from books to films to news from all over the globe. You can understand the latest trends, keep up with current events, and engage with a world of ideas and innovation. By learning English, you're not just learning a language, you're learning how to navigate a globalized world. The real power of English isn't just in the words you learn, it's in the opportunities it brings. So, when you're feeling down or frustrated with your progress, remind yourself of the bigger picture. Learning English isn't just about passing a test or speaking perfectly. It's about embracing the freedom and possibilities that come with being able to communicate with people from all over the world. So, are you ready to keep going, no matter how slow, no matter how many mistakes? Every day you're learning something new, and that's a reason to be proud. So, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more motivational tips and language learning advice. And remember, the journey may be long, but it's yours, and you're making progress every single day. Learning English is not just about getting to the destination. It's about enjoying the journey, embracing the small wins, and knowing that every step you take brings you closer to your goals. Keep pushing forward, celebrate the little victories, and don't forget to look back at how far you've come. You're making progress, and that's something to be proud of.